Hi, I'm Ralph. Welcome to My Life on Carnivore, Week 10. Okay, this has been the end of Week 10. I'm doing a wrap up here. So first I'm going to give you some statistics. That's going to be very brief, and then I'm going to move on to a review of a smart scale. Now, this is not a smart scale that they sent me to review. So this is not necessarily going to be this is the greatest thing since sliced bread. In fact, this might even have a lot of negativity to it. So if you're interested in maybe buying a smart scale, I might have some information for you. Might have one to sell you. We'll see. But getting to the statistics real quick here. Last week, as I say, week 10, I wound up losing about 1.3 pounds. Now, that's not a huge amount, but it's not bad. It's a whole lot better than gaining weight. So, hey, we got to take our trends where we can get them. But that means that overall, I am still down 27.7 pounds. That's pretty darn awesome. That's pretty close to that. Every 15 pounds I drop down a waist size. Well, I've done it. I've dropped down another waist size. I had an old pair of pants, pair of jeans that I had kept around just for a moment like this. So I've been able to fit a smaller size jean, and that's pretty exciting. And my shirts are fitting pretty good. This one, it's one of my fat men shirts. I mean, you can kind of see it, little baggy here. But it's a heavier weight shirt, and weather's starting to cool down, and it's just fairly comfortable to wear. So, I'm not going to give it up quite that easy. Some of the other pluses, is that, my blood pressure has been way down from the high that it was at. At one time, my blood pressure numbers were, the first number being in the mid 150s, maybe even sometimes as high as 159. And that is just not good. That is not healthy. Currently, though, being down in some weight, and this has been happening for a little while now while on carnivore, my blood pressure is pretty consistently in the low 120s. Monday of last week was like 124 over 73, 124 over 80, 121 over 75, and ended up the week 121 over 64. These are great numbers. My doctor's been very happy with my blood pressure. Now, last time I went to the doctor, which is only about maybe a week or two ago, my numbers for pre-diabetes still about the same. They have not changed. They have not gone up. They have also not gone down. Now, it's not like a super strong number where the doctor's worried and wants to put me on medication or something. It's been something we've been kind of watching for a while, and we just kind of do periodic checks. But I also understand that sometimes that number doesn't change or doesn't change very quickly on carnivore, but that the actual risk due to other measurements that didn't take place, I'm not sure what those measurements are, can actually show that you're probably not in that bad a shape actually. So I'm very hopeful about that. I'm hopeful just that it didn't go up and that it hasn't changed. So these are great numbers. The scale, a smart scale. I bought this scale from the Wise Company. This is the scale that I bought. Now there's a lot of other scales out there, and I'm discovering, checking out reviews, that there are probably some others that are more highly rated. This was not necessarily negatively rated. It just did not hit the top 5 choices that other, critics have come up with. I have some critiques of it that might be different from just an average person who is not having weight problems, issues that perhaps they wouldn't have. This will handle weight up to like 400 pounds, 395 pounds, something in that ballpark. And it is for weight and body trends, 12 essential body composition metrics. It syncs with popular fitness apps. It's unlimited sharing with friends and family. It's a slim design. It comes with the batteries, which a lot of things that require batteries don't. And it's got an advanced coated glass surface that actually does the reading. Now, let me open the app here real quick, just to kind of show you some of the things that it does measure. And it's got an app for your phone so you can track things like your weight, your BMI, excuse me, your body fat, muscle mass, body water, lean body mass, bone mass, your protein percent, visceral fat, your BMR, metabolic age, muscle mass. And it can also, track it on a graph so you can see where you've come from and where you're at now. There's even an option, and in fact, there's kind of the way it looks. There's even an option that you can take your pulse on this by, covering up one of the cameras on the back with your finger and hitting a button, and it'll send pulses through your finger, light pulses, and it'll read your pulse rate from that. Supposedly, it's also great for measuring your luggage and pets. Well, I don't know how often I'm going to be, measuring my luggage or my pets. My pet is like 100 pounds. I'm not real likely to hold him in my arms while I do this. Theoretically, this should be a great app, which is why I bought this with my own money. So again, I'm not reviewing this for the Wise Company. There is a review of mine, brief review, that they actually posted on their website because they asked me my opinion of this purchase, and I gave it to them. Basically as a shorter version of what I'm about to tell you. But instead of being bothered by my review and contacting me and seeing if there's something that they could do to work things out, they actually just posted it. They kind of laughed about it, literally made humorous comments about it back to me before posting it, which I thought was a little odd. Now, I might have put a little bit of levity into my review, but they're a company that's kind of known for levity anyway, so that did not really hurt my feelings. That's just kind of their corporate culture. They make commercials that are fun to watch. But I also own a lot of their other products. I own security cameras by Wise. My doorbell camera is by Wise. I have smart light bulbs by Wise, and all of them work flawlessly. So I love the Wise Company. I'm not a big fan of the Wise scale. Now they've got 3 different scales. This is their uppermost, most recent version, the Wise Scale X. It may not apply to their earlier versions, the Wise Scale, the Wise Scale S, but it is going to apply to this X because I just don't have experience with the others. I will tell you this, the people probably most interested in all the features on here might be somebody like an athlete or somebody who's overweight. Well, I'm not exactly in an athletic shape. I do fall into that overweight category. In order to make these features work, now remember, this is just your average size scale. It's not as big as this box. The box has protective material inside of it, so it's your average size scale. You have to stand on it. Your feet don't touch. Your knees are not supposed to touch. Wait a second here. You're telling an overweight person that their knees are not supposed to touch. An average guy standing on a small scale probably is going to be pushing it if their knees aren't touching. You take somebody who's overweight, maybe even obese, and you're going to have some difficulties there without having a wider scale. My recommendation to the Wise Company would be build a wider scale so that people's knees don't touch. I literally had to get into positions like in a little ballet plie or all hunkered down bow-legged and trying to get the measurements to work. I mean, my wife found this, quite funny actually. But those are the kinds of positions you kind of have to get yourself into in order to make the extra functions work if they work at all. I am lucky if I can get the functions to work once, maybe twice over the course of a week. So all those extra readings, and y'all know how obsessive compulsive I am about numbers. I mean, I record my weight, my blood pressure, what I ate, how I felt, everything every single day. So you know how I am about my numbers and how this is going to drive me crazy if I can't get the numbers that I paid for every single day so that I can track them and see how I'm doing. Maybe it's a good thing. Maybe it's a good thing that I only see it periodically. I mean, my recommendation to people other than me, don't get on the scale every day. That's what everybody says. It's just not me. I'm just not built that way. I got to get on that scale every day. That's part of what motivates me. Even when it's going the wrong direction, it motivates me to do better today. So what is the use of all these functions if it just turns into a scale? Now, as you're standing there in your plie or bow-legged and you're kind of wobbly a little bit, your weight is going to have to be fluctuating down there. And so, it's going back and forth until it finally settles on one, which means, is that really the weight for today or not? So you wind up getting off and getting back on and getting off and getting back on until you can find 2 to 3 measurements that agree, and then that becomes the weight for the day. It also drove me crazy when I first got it because it was 3 pounds off from my original scale, 3 pounds heavier than my original scale. Okay, maybe my original scale, which admittedly is very old, has kind of the springs in it or whatever the measurement gadget is in there, is old. Maybe it's not accurate anymore. But it drove me crazy that this was reading higher. Okay, but I had another scale in the guest bedroom, and I have to admit, it was actually closer to that. The fact that it fluctuates so much while you're trying to get that measurement, it gets a little frustrating to have to get on and off and on and off and take averages to figure out what you got for the day. These are my big critiques of the Wise Scale X. Now, I don't know how the other 2 Wise scales work. If Wise Company sees this, they want to send me the other 2 to review or contact me with giving me some clues as to why this is not working for me. Maybe I've got a faulty one. Maybe they'll send me another one to try out to see if that works. I don't know. If Wise Company out there, if you hear this, give me a call or send me another scale to check out. But there are others out there that might be better. Now, like I say, this was their top of the line and it is still only about $33. And the others are even cheaper. I've seen scales, smart scales out there that were going for a couple of $100. I would really, go nuts if I bought one for a couple $100 and it was doing what this one did. I'll just, use it for the weight for $33. If I spent a couple $100, this thing would be going back, I swear. That is my review for the Wise Scale. I hope that helps other people out there. If you have questions for me about this, drop me some questions, some comments, and I hope everybody else, whether you are a longtime carnivore person or a brand new to carnivore, that you're joining our community down in the comments section because we've got some great conversations to go on down there. So I love the commenters. So with that said, I will catch y'all the next time. Bye-bye.